everyone, and welcome to Dave's Wrestling Pitches. If you've never seen one of these videos before, the premise is very simple. My name is Dave and I'm going to be looking at an upcoming WWE pay-per-view event, taking one match from that card and using that match as a jumping off point to build a storyline that I then pitch to you guys. Now, at the time of recording, the next pay-per-view on WWE's horizon is Money in the Bank, the show that revolves around the titular Money in the Bank ladder match wherein WWE superstars compete to climb a ladder to retrieve a briefcase suspended above the ring. Inside that briefcase, there is a contract entitling them to a World Championship match at the time and place of their choosing anytime in the next 12 months. Now, some have argued that this stipulation is starting to feel a little bit tired since it was first introduced in 2005, with that sentiment kind of reaching its pinnacle last year when on the roof of WWE HQ, Otis caught the Money in the Bank briefcase. Personally, I thought WWE used the briefcase the way it should be used, in that they gave it to someone not normally associated with the main event and gave that person a platform that they could hopefully build upon to be taken seriously as a world champion contender. Was Otis ready at that point to be taken seriously as a world champion? No, absolutely not. The guy was portrayed as a lovable buffoon, mainly associated with the tag team division. But it could have been done. WWE had a year to build him up, give him some wins, put him in some more engaging storylines and give us the time to go with them as they built Otis into a world champion. Do not forget how popular Otis was back then. This was the man with the most engaging and emotional storyline heading into WrestleMania, the person that I was personally cheering on the most to get the win across both nights of WrestleMania 37. WWE could have done it if they'd have stuck with their initial idea, sad face emoji, sigh. And that, in a nutshell, is probably why the briefcase idea is starting to feel a little bit dated nowadays, because it doesn't get used to build up new stars. If you just look at the last few Money in the Bank briefcase winners, we have Baron Corbin, who lost his cash-in attempt on a random episode of SmackDown. We had Braun Strowman, who did not need the briefcase to be taken seriously as a main eventer at that time, but didn't matter because he lost his cash-in attempt thanks to interference from Brock Lesnar, the physical representation of WWE's main event scene. And then we have Otis. Otis didn't even get a chance to use the briefcase. He lost it due to legal proceedings with The Miz, who then used that briefcase to cash in on Drew McIntyre and become WWE Champion for a second time. The Miz was champion for, I think it was a day. I think it was one day before he was served his backside to him on a silver platter by Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley then became world champion, making Bobby Lashley the only person to benefit from the briefcase in 4 years. So, with all that in mind, my aim for this storyline is very simple. I'm going to take the briefcase and use it to elevate someone not normally associated with the main event in a way that allows us, the audience, to take them seriously as a top tier champion. But before we get into it, I just want to take a few seconds to talk about a couple of elements that are going to be very important throughout this storyline. I've already discussed Money in the Bank, so I'll start with The Hurt Business. Comprised of WWE Champion Bobby Lashley, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin and MVP as the mouthpiece at ringside, The Hurt Business were one of the strongest stables that WWE has presented to us in a very long time. They won championships, they were usually around the top of the card, and were starting to give off very serious Evolution style vibes when, for some reason, WWE split them up. Again, sad face emoji, sigh. Next, the 24/7 Championship, a title that can be contested anytime and anywhere, so long as there is a referee present to make the call. Kind of like the Money in the Bank, but for people lower down the card. Introduced by Mick Foley on the May 20th, 2019 episode of Raw, the title belt itself and the very concept of what it stood for were met with absolute derision and boos by the live crowd, and met with borderline hatred by the internet wrestling community until, Lord bless him, R-Truth of all people straight up bullied the gimmick into becoming one of the most entertaining segments on WWE programming at that time. Seriously, if you don't believe me, have a look at WWE's YouTube page and see how many views those segments were getting at the time. This didn't last long, however, before WWE swapped out inventive title changes that were taking place on golf courses, airplanes, an actual wedding, for an endless string of cheap roll-ups that further served to devalue the belt and make it back into the joke that it was originally perceived to be. Okay, now that we've got all that out the way, let's get on with the storyline. So, it's the Raw before Money in the Bank, and it's announced at the start of the show that there are going to be 3 Battle Royales, with the winners of those Battle Royals being the entrants for the men's Money in the Bank. The contestants for the Battle Royals have been chosen from across the whole of the Raw roster, with everyone eligible except for Bobby Lashley because he's current WWE Champion, and Drew McIntyre because he lost his right to challenge Bobby Lashley after losing a Hell in a Cell. Sorry, Drew. A quick bit of admin here. This pitch was written before the June 21st episode of Raw, an episode that actually did have qualifiers, something that I didn't count on when I was writing this pitch because WWE almost never do qualifiers for these sort of things. Now, I could retcon this entire pitch and try and use the qualifiers that WWE used, but I'm not going to because I want to use the storyline that I've come up with. Hopefully that's okay. The winners of the Battle Royales are Randy Orton, Ricochet, and R-Truth. Now bear with me because we are going somewhere with this. Also, during the show, Shelton Benjamin will become 24/7 champion, this will be important later, and Bobby Lashley and Kofi Kingston will have their final confrontation before the WWE Championship match at Money in the Bank. During this confrontation, Xavier Woods and MVP will be doing a lot of the talking, getting in each other's faces as they stick up for their guys. At Money in the Bank, Bobby Lashley successfully defends his WWE Championship despite Kofi Kingston putting up a much stronger challenge than anyone would have thought possible, and Xavier was doing the best he can to nullify outside interference from MVP. But one distraction too many, ding ding ding, sorry Kofi. The main point to take away from this match is that despite all of Lashley's brawn and all of MVP's brains, their grip on the WWE Championship isn't as ironclad as they would like it to be. Backstage after the match, MVP gets out his cell phone and makes a little call. In the main event, during the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, the briefcase is pulled down by R-Truth. R-Truth becomes Mr. Money in the Bank 2021. Now, yes, I know, and I can already hear you typing away in the comments down below. I am aware that R-Truth should not be a main eventer in the year of our Lord 2021. But we're giving him the briefcase for 2 reasons. The first one is we want to say thank you for all the hard work he did with the 24/7 Championship. And the second one is we're going to use what we know about R-Truth's character, i.e. that he's a bit of a wacky guy who doesn't always understand the gravity of his situation, to feel what happens next. The next night on Raw, R-Truth is being interviewed backstage and he's saying how he can't believe how he's won the Royal Rumble and he's going to go on to WrestleMania. The interviewer is trying to explain what has actually happened when they're both confronted by Randy Orton. Orton, furious at losing at Money in the Bank to R-Truth, demands a one-on-one match. Winner gets the briefcase. R-Truth thinks about it for a second, shakes his hand. Challenge accepted, we have a match for SummerSlam. On the same night, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods hit the ring, grab a microphone and demand that Kofi gets a rematch against Bobby Lashley with a stipulation in place that will stop MVP from interfering. Lashley and MVP arrive, look like they're about to say something when bang! Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin attack the New Day from behind, beating them down, leaving them prone and broken in the ring. MVP gets a mic, raises it to his mouth and says the following: "The Hurt Business is back. The almighty Bobby Lashley has got nothing to fear from anyone on this Raw roster, but even the most dominant champion needs an insurance policy. It took a lot of money to rebuild these broken bridges, but the CEO of the Hurt Business has got deep pockets, and so it is my privilege to welcome back into the executive boardroom the talents of Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. Kofi, if you want another match for the WWE Championship, you're going to have to earn it. At SummerSlam, you and your boy Xavier Woods can take on Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander in a tag team match. If you win, you'll get your one-on-one rematch and we will not interfere. If you lose, then you give up the right to challenge for the WWE Championship so long as Bobby Lashley's holding the belt." And so, with that in mind, we have our 2 marquee matches for SummerSlam. We have the New Day versus the Hurt Business for Kofi Kingston's right to challenge for the WWE Championship, and we have Randy Orton versus R-Truth for the briefcase. Leading up to SummerSlam with these guys, you can kind of now do what you want, provided you avoid them facing off against each other. We all know now what they want, what they're fighting for and why, so we just need to get us now to SummerSlam. And if you're wondering why R-Truth doesn't just simply cash in the briefcase before he has a chance to lose it, that's because we're going to play on the fact that R-Truth, again, doesn't quite understand what's going on and doesn't understand the gravity of his situation to feel what's going to come afterwards. At the pay-per-view itself, the New Day lose to the Hurt Business, meaning Kofi Kingston can now not challenge Bobby Lashley again, and against all odds, R-Truth is able to retain the briefcase in his match against Randy Orton. During that match, MVP is shown backstage, watching along on a monitor, nodding in approval, deep in thought. The next night on Raw, MVP approaches R-Truth backstage. You know who I am, and I know that you're Mr. Money in the Bank. So let me make you an offer. You agree not to cash in on Bobby Lashley as long as he's champion, and I offer you a seat in the boardroom of the Hurt Business. I don't have to worry about you trying to cash in on Bobby Lashley. The Hurt Business keeps one hand on the gold and one hand on the briefcase, and you gain the executive backing of the most dominant stable on Raw, so that when you do decide to cash in, you're going to be guaranteed to win. Everyone's happy, and we all make a lot of money. Agreed? R-Truth thinks for a moment, nods his head, shakes hands, accepts the offer, the deal is done. R-Truth, welcome to the Hurt Business. So, the next pay-per-view after Money in the Bank is Payback, and the Hurt Business have made it their mission in life to win every single men's championship on Raw. Cedric Alexander is given the task of winning the United States Championship, while Shelton Benjamin and R-Truth are targeting the Raw Tag Team Championships. And the build-up for Payback after that is just them winning their way into the matches through strong, dominant performances. Payback starts off really strongly for the Hurt Business. Cedric Alexander wins the United States Championship with a little bit of help from MVP, but mostly due to a strong performance. Backstage, Shelton Benjamin and R-Truth are making their way to the ring for their Raw Tag Team Championship match when, bang! R-Truth clocks Shelton Benjamin across the back of the head with a briefcase, flings it away, dives on Shelton Benjamin to make a pin. A passing referee sees, counts 1, 2, 3, we have a new 24/7 champion. R-Truth grabs his baby, he's got it back, he runs off into the night as Cedric Alexander, MVP and Bobby Lashley arrive, screaming at officials, demanding to know what the hell is going on. While all this is happening, the briefcase has disappeared, nowhere to be seen. The next night on Raw, confusion reigns supreme. Authority figures corner R-Truth, demanding to know what's happened to the Money in the Bank briefcase. I cashed in, I used it to win my Money in the Bank 24/7 Royal Rumble Championship back. Yes, very good, but where is the briefcase? I just told you, I cashed it in. No, you don't seem to be understanding us, okay? You see, inside that briefcase there is a contract for a WWE or a Universal Championship match, right? Now, we don't know who's going to win Money in the Bank before it happens, so we can't put a name on that contract, meaning that essentially, from the moment it's won until the moment it's used, the contract basically belongs to whoever is holding it. Now, if you don't know where that briefcase is and we don't know who has got the briefcase, that means that there is someone out there who can have a WWE or a Universal Championship match at the time and place of their choosing, and we don't know who that person is. And so, our stall is now set. Nobody knows who Mr. Money in the Bank is, and WWE has a delicious little whodunit for its audience to debate over. And if they're smart, WWE can go all in on this and fuel the speculation by sharing things like, I don't know, maybe grainy CCTV footage of potential candidates, the fan pics of people who are backstage, that sort of thing. Now, this can't go on forever, as these sort of things can get quite boring quite quickly, so we're going to try and have this wrapped up nice in time for Survivor Series. On Raw, the Hurt Business hit the ring and MVP grabs the mic. R-Truth will get what is coming to him. But in the meantime, whoever's got that damn briefcase, get your backside down to this ring now. The four men turn to face the entranceway when whose music should hit but that of a returning Keith Lee. Not with the briefcase in his hand, I'll point that out now, not with the briefcase, but making his triumphant return to Monday Night Raw. Now, at the time of recording, Keith Lee's been off TV for a little bit and I'm not exactly sure what exactly has happened, but I'm going to apply a little bit of creative license and assume that whatever has been going on has been resolved by this point. Also, look me in the eye and tell me that you don't want to see a massive hoss battle between Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley. Keith Lee stands on the ramp, staring down the champion, raises the mic to his mouth and says, I may not be the man that you're looking for, but you have something that I want. Lashley's about to laugh off the challenge when he's stopped by MVP, who points out that Lashley currently doesn't have a challenger for Clash of Champions and that Keith Lee has been away from the ring for quite some time, will probably have a bit of ring rust. MVP accepts the challenge on Lashley's behalf on the condition that Keith Lee face off each member of the Hurt Business each week in order to prove himself, and also to let Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin give him a quick beating or two. These matches will give the audience a chance to reacquaint themselves with how awesome Keith Lee is, while also giving Keith Lee a couple of victories on his way to Clash of Champions to establish himself as someone who is a threat. So now we have two matches set for Clash of Champions. We have Bobby Lashley versus Keith Lee for the WWE Championship, and the grudge match between Shelton Benjamin and R-Truth for the 24/7 Championship. At Clash of Champions, R-Truth gets the absolute snot beaten out of him by Shelton Benjamin, but is able to get a quick roll up and get away with his title. In the main event, Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley go face to face, head to head and toe to toe in one hell of a big hoss battle, but his time away from the ring and the outside interference from MVP proves just a little bit too much of an obstacle for Keith Lee to overcome. 1, 2, 3, Bobby Lashley retains the championship. Lashley is celebrating in the ring, holding the championship aloft when bang, he's clocked in the back of the head with a briefcase. Who's holding that briefcase? The Miz. The Miz makes the quick cover, the referee counts the pinfall, 1, 2, 3, the Miz grabs the belt and runs as fast as he can out of dodge. But don't worry, because the next night on Raw, it's revealed that the briefcase the Miz used was a replica that you can buy from WWEshop.com for the low price of $70 plus shipping. The Miz is dragged out to the ring on Raw and forced to hand the belt back over to Bobby Lashley before the Hurt Business beat him into the ground for his troubles. Afterwards, WWE officials announced that if anyone else tries the same trick, they will be suspended for a minimum of 3 months. You see, it fits the Miz's character that he would try something like this, but I also don't want this sort of thing happening over and over again, because 1, it'll get tired fast, and 2, it will diminish the pop for when the actual briefcase gets used. The next week on Raw, MVP gathers the troops and assembles Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander backstage. I have managed to get you two in the main event of tonight's show a #1 contendership match for the Raw Tag Team Championships, but in the meantime, you two have got a job to do. I want you to find whoever's got that damn briefcase and take them out with a picture. And if you can't find whoever's got that briefcase, I want you to send them a message that is nice and clear. Throughout the night, Alexander and Benjamin stalk the backstage area, violently assaulting anyone that they think could be a potential suspect. They see someone they don't know carrying a briefcase. It's a bad day to be someone they don't know carrying a briefcase. One of the people they come across is Damian Priest, and believing that they've seen a briefcase in his gym bag, they attack him and leave him lying out cold. Now, I'll give a quick spoiler and say that Damian Priest does not have the briefcase, but we're using this attack to set up what's going to come later. Alexander and Benjamin had a good reason for attacking him, and now Priest has got a good reason for attacking back. It's main event time on Raw, and during the match between the Hurt Business and the New Day, Damian Priest comes out with a steel chair and lays out the Hurt Business. He's getting his revenge, having a whale of a time doing it, when Bobby Lashley comes out to try and make a save. Only problem is, he's not quick enough, and Lashley gets a steel chair for his troubles as well. The two men are pulled apart by WWE officials, and if you can't see where this is going, then I can only assume you've never watched an episode of Raw before. A hardcore match is now set up for the WWE Championship at Extreme Rules, the next pay-per-view event on the calendar. In the weeks leading up to the show, Damian Priest and Bobby Lashley violently assault each other backstage with different weapons in scenes that escalate the tension every time, but crucially mean that we don't see them in the ring until we get to the blow-off point. And hopefully, by the time we get there, we've built up enough tension so that we can have a real bloodbath, or as much of a bloodbath as WWE is prepared to put on. Of course, this match will be no disqualifications, and we all know that the Hurt Business are going to get involved, so let's give Priest some backup. The New Day still have an axe to grind with the Hurt Business after Kofi Kingston was screwed out of his championship match all those months ago, so Xavier Woods approaches Damian Priest and offers their protection at ringside during the match. Damian Priest, because he's clever, accepts. During the match, Kofi Kingston and Shelton Benjamin take each other out on the entrance ramp, while Xavier Woods is forced to roll under the ring just to get away from the beatdown he's getting from Cedric Alexander and MVP. Meanwhile, Damian Priest has put up a hell of a fight, but again, Bobby Lashley's raw power is too much for him to overcome. He makes the pin, 1, 2, 3, Bobby Lashley successfully retains the WWE Championship. He's celebrating in the ring when, bang, he's clocked over the head with a briefcase, this time the real one. And I know what you're thinking, who's holding it? Who is Mr. Money in the Bank? For this storyline that I'm pitching to pay off properly, whoever has the briefcase has to be someone that the audience is familiar with but who's never had a main event push, someone who's never been a world champion, someone who has an axe to grind with a Hurt Business, and someone clever enough to bide their time. Therefore, my pitch for the man who will successfully cash in the briefcase is Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods is the only member of the New Day to never have held a singles championship in WWE. And importantly, is someone with the charisma, the mic skills and the in-ring talent for the audience to buy as a potential world champion. Now, I did consider it being Keith Lee or Damian Priest, but as much as I think they're very, very talented, they're still new to a casual audience. Now, I want to make someone a new champion, but it still needs to be someone that the casual audience in particular can get behind, because if this pitch fails at this point, then I've essentially wasted all of our time. So here we are. Xavier Woods was Mr. Money in the Bank and is now the new WWE Champion. The next night on Raw, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods make their way to the ring to start the show. Woods apologises to a confused Kingston for not letting him in on his little scheme, saying that he needed to play his cards close to his chest to make sure that no one found out. He says that just like when Kofi Kingston won at WrestleMania, as far as he is concerned, this belt is essentially shared property of the New Day and they are all champions. The pair are hugging out in the ring when who else but the Hurt Business arrives. Bobby Lashley in particular is seriously pissed off. He's been cashed in on twice. MVP grabs a mic and calls Xavier Woods a coward for striking from behind. He demands a rematch for Bobby Lashley at Survivor Series. He says, you, your little friend Kofi Kingston, and whatever partners you can find against us. All four of the Hurt Business in a traditional Survivor Series elimination match. Whoever gets to the deciding pinfall gets the WWE Championship. Xavier Woods, eager to prove himself as a valiant fighting champion, accepts. The scene is now set for this story's big final blow-off match, the Hurt Business versus the New Day and their partners Keith Lee and Damian Priest. Now hopefully this doesn't come across as sticking a bunch of good guys together with a bunch of good guys because they're a bunch of good guys, but as the logical result of the actions that we've seen take place over the last couple of months. During the match we've gone tit for tat for eliminations and we're down at the final two, Xavier Woods and Bobby Lashley. Everyone else has been taken out of ringside, with MVP being the only non-legal man still standing, and he is actively blocking any advantages that Xavier Woods can carve out for himself. Woods tries to deliver the honour roll when MVP throws the referee into his path, knocking the ref out cold. He then grabs the WWE Championship, slides it into the ring, and Bobby Lashley lifts it up, ready to deliver the killing blow. He's winding up, getting ready to take a shot when who should strike him from behind but the original Mr. Money in the Bank, R-Truth. R-Truth clocks Bobby Lashley over the back of the head with what else but the 24/7 Championship, hightails it out of the way as the referee recovers to make the pin. 1, 2, 3, Xavier Woods retains the championship. A big win for the heroes, and our storyline is brought to a conclusion. So what did we achieve during this storyline? Well, hopefully we've achieved the following. Firstly, we've re-established the Hurt Business as a top-tier stable. After this, they can either continue to pursue the WWE Championship, or we can bring them down the card for a bit and let Xavier Woods defend against someone else. Either way, Bobby Lashley has had a lengthy reign, been booked as a very dominant champion, and the stable themselves have been booked as both fighting champions and very intelligent. We've pushed Keith Lee and Damian Priest, giving them strong feuds and pushing them hard against a very, very, very dominant champion. Again, what they do afterwards is a bit up in the air, but it might be cool for them to enter a three-way feud for the United States Championship, which, if you remember, is currently being held by Cedric Alexander. We've hopefully given a little bit of prestige to the 24/7 Championship by making it the start and end point of a long-running feud revolving around the WWE Championship. We've also given it a somewhat lengthy reign by having it on the shoulders of Shelton Benjamin for a month, and increased its value in the eyes of the audience by having it something that is worth actually scheming and plotting and fighting over. We've used the Money in the Bank briefcase to elevate someone from the mid-card to the world title scene, creating a new first-time WWE champion in the process in the shape of Xavier Woods. And finally, we've done something that's never happened before, in that we've had a mystery Mr. Money in the Bank. Am I proud of myself for that one? Yes, I am proud of myself for that one. Well done, Dave. Thanks, Dave. And that's it. We're done. The storyline's over. What did you think of the pitch? Would you like to tell me how wrong I am and how you would have done it much better than me? If so, then the comment section is down below. Also, come and find us on Twitter. The link will be in the description. Please come and engage with us. And also, don't forget to give this channel a subscribe, give this video a like, and a comment down below. I'll be back again soon with another pitch for you, but if there's a storyline that you'd like me to work on, then please let me know in the comment section down below. Please, 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 if you enjoyed this video, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. I've been Dave, this has been Dave's Wrestling Pitches, and I'll see you again soon. Please, please, please don't forget to smash that like button. I'm not going to do that.